Fremont County is now allowing everyone to be tested for COVID-19. Here's what we've learned tonight. The county's Department of Public Health and Environment says you can be tested at the health department near 6th and Macon. That's Mondays from 1 till 3 p.m., Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m.
This makes it so we can get a better idea of how it's spread, if it has spread, if it hasn't, so we can take that worry away so we can get people tested, because that's what we have had a big ask for.
Now, even though that service is free, the health department is asking you still make an appointment ahead of time. By the way, Fremont County has 18 confirmed COVID-19 cases so far.
For all of you who pulled out sewing machines and made cloth masks, there is a big thanks coming from Children's Hospital Colorado. As the rules evolve, the masks are an important element of allowing family members to visit. So much so, Children's Hospital is hoping that more will be made and donated to them. They're going through about 300 a day.
To ensure that our visitors and our parents, they have access to these face coverings when they come to the facility, and they can then take them and use them in the community as well.
And there are guidelines for making and donating masks. You can check the Children's Hospital Colorado website or call and ask for their Association of Volunteers. Okay, Governor Polis spent an hour with President Trump at the White House today discussing cooperation and aid in our fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Our White House correspondent Joe St. George speaking with the governor after that meeting tonight.
Going into today's meeting at the White House, Governor Jared Polis expressed some trepidation, and you can't blame him. A senior staffer here in the West Wing recently tested positive for COVID-19. So did this meeting benefit Colorado? Well, we found out. Tonight, the governor meets the president, and moments after Governor Jared Polis left his meeting in the West Wing, he spoke to us from outside the White House.
Look, if we get, one additional test or one additional, mask or glove for Colorado, of course it's worth it.
We asked Governor Polis if he was impressed by the president.
Well, the president is the president. He is who he is. He's the president we have, not the president that many Americans wish that they had. So he's the president we have. So
that doesn't sound like a huge endorsement.
Well, he's the president that we have.
Colorado's governor, one of two governors meeting with President Trump today, the other being the Republican governor of North Dakota. We asked about whether he mentioned the PPE controversy. The governor previously claimed Colorado had an order and the federal government swooped in and canceled it.
The president reiterated their commitment to work to deliver 96,000 Thermo Fisher tests immediately.
The meeting comes as Colorado's budget leaders warn of a major financial shortfall. Cuts expected. The Unemployment Trust Fund could be insolvent by June. We asked if he asked for a bailout.
It's just a question of how the Democrats and Republicans can work together to get to yes.
The trip also giving the governor a chance to see what it's like to fly again. With this advice to anyone who's traveling.
It was a tension. It was a stress that you don't normally have when you fly.
Joe St. George reporting from the White House tonight. Now, new at 5, the commander of Peterson Air Force Base's 21st Space Wing has died suddenly. Here's what we know. Colonel Thomas Falzarano has been commander of the Space Wing since July of 2019. He was found unresponsive in his on-base home. Now, while the cause of death still under investigation tonight, officials so far say he died of natural causes. We are told there are currently no indications of a possible COVID-19 connection. Reaction tonight from Springs Mayor John Southard, who said, quote, "We were shocked to learn of the death of Colonel Falzarano. Since he assumed command at Peterson Air Force Base, he was a great partner in working with the city on a variety of matters. Of course, our thoughts are with the Colonel's family tonight and those under his command at Peterson Air Force Base." We're watching out for you tonight, and if you're renting a home or renting your home, an executive order from Governor Polis protects you from eviction through the end of this month. Now, but skipping payments could still be a risky proposition, and put your landlord in a tough spot. News 5's Jessica Barreto explains how not paying your rent could have a ripple effect across the whole community.
Think of rental housing as an ecosystem where a lot of people depend on your rent money. For instance, more than half of your rent typically pays for property taxes, which go to help teachers and first responders. Then, of course, there's landlords who say they're having a hard time recouping that loss when the money stops coming. While landlords can qualify for mortgage forbearance, they're still responsible for paying that money back in bulk within 6 months. Julie Hernandez says in her case, 25% of her tenants have stopped paying rent.
Most landlords are definitely going to struggle with this.
And she wishes there were more resources out there.
It's not right for the landlords to have to carry the burden of the community.
And just like an ecosystem disrupted when rent payments stop, it ends up affecting a lot of people.
When residents don't pay their rent, we can't pay our employees who have families and maybe mortgage payments or rent of their own to pay. That could put us in jeopardy of foreclosure, which would mean that location may not be available for housing at all.
So to avoid this, and if you have the means, try to work out a payment plan with your landlord.
Maybe they don't have the full 500 or 1,000 or whatever they might owe, but they can definitely make payments just to show good faith, because we do know some people are struggling.
While landlords say their resources are limited, as a renter, you do have several options available to you. If you're in a dire financial situation, you can apply for housing assistance programs. The Apartment Association of Southern Colorado has several listed on their website, and we have that link posted for you on our website at KOAA.com. Always watching out for you, Southern Colorado, Jessica Barreto, News 5.
Jessica, thanks. Well, COVID-19 won't alter the 2020 election schedule. The process underway in El Paso County tonight. While the clerk and recorder's office is dealing with a whole lot of challenging issues these days, they still have to meet legally required election deadlines. First order of business for the June primary, getting ballots in the mail.
We will be on Friday mailing out ballots to our military and overseas voters. We have nearly 5,400 citizens that are someplace else in the world that need to get their ballot.
Statewide ballots for the primary will be sent out in 3 weeks for the June 30th primary.
Worship leaders in Pueblo preparing to resume services if Governor Polis decides to lift his executive order. And we spoke with leaders at the Family Worship Center today who told us everyone entering the church must get their hands sanitized before they go inside. There will also be an usher at the door to inform everyone entering how the social distancing process will work. There are X's on the floor to mark 6 feet for social distancing. When people enter the chapel, they'll sit from front to back with 3 chairs between each family. And when they leave, they'll exit back to front so that no one is passing each other in the aisles. If the chapel fills up, then those remaining can sit in their cars in the parking lot. They can listen on the radio or view it virtually.
When you sit in your cars in a parking lot to worship, or you're at your house looking online, it is not the same as being with your church family in worship. And so our spiritual well-being is every bit as important as our physical well-being.
In all separate rooms, drinking fountains roped off. Children's services would be canceled, so they will stay with parents during those worship sessions.
And a COVID-19 plan in the place for Catholic churches in Colorado Springs and across the Diocese of Colorado Springs. Bishop Michael Sheridan announced masses returning this weekend with some strict guidelines. Attendance will be limited through a reservation system. Social distancing will be required inside. Anyone who's considered at high risk or is sick, you should continue to participate through TV or online. Again, check with your individual parish for a schedule on how to make those reservations.
Local business owners finding ways to overcome while lifting up those around them during the COVID-19 pandemic. And tonight, our John McMichael looks at local Relic in Colorado Springs, which has been working with the community to donate beer paired with notes of encouragement to our frontline workers.
For local Relic, things are quieter. Things have changed.
The sound of silence has been really, really loud for us.
But despite that, for the past month, this brewery has turned its eyes outward.
For us at Local Relic, community outreach has always been an important part of what we do. And just because the sort of environment that we're operating within has changed doesn't mean that our commitment to the community has.
So they've been taking in and matching donations in order to create and distribute liquid love notes. Bottles of beer with handwritten notes of encouragement free to those who are working in the forefront of this crisis.
I really hope that people understand that they're seen, they're heard. We understand the sacrifice that goes into keeping our community running, even at a very basic level. And we're thankful.
We have more than 200 beers that we've given away. We have more that we hope to be able to share with frontline workers. Every one of them was crafted with love, and I hope that when they come in, find a bottle that speaks to them, find a thank you note that really, pulls on their heartstrings a little bit so that they know that we were thinking of them through all of this.
Watching out for you, Colorado. John McMichael, News 5.
Great story. Medical workers being honored in Canyon City today. A vehicle parade held for the people who work at St. Thomas More Medical Center. They drove by with their vehicles while honking and showing off signs of appreciation.
It's really important. Everybody has their day or their week, but healthcare workers are doing extra right now, and it's important to say thank you.
Love the truck with the mask on it. This appreciation done partly also because it's National Hospital Week.
Mike Daniels with First Alert 5. A little bit of a change here over the next several days. Cooler temperatures and a much better chance of finally getting some of that rainfall we need. I'll break it down for you in detail after the break. You're watching News 5 at 5.
This is your First Alert 5 weather with Mike Daniels.
Great to have you with us here on News 5 at 5. We are live in Colorado Springs. That's from the Rock Rimmon Studios. We've got a mix of clouds and sunshine out there. Nice and warm, 77 degrees. Big improvement over yesterday, but it is dry. Relative humidity at 11%. In Pueblo, you've got a mix of clouds and sunshine. It's dry. It'll be dry for the rest of the evening. 84 degrees right now. Despite that easterly breeze coming out of the east, upsloping at 5, humidity in the single digits right now. Let's move on and show you what's going on up in Bennett Avenue. You can't gamble, but you can reconstruct the street there. A lot of construction going on, getting ready for the time when you can go up there and have some fun again. Red flag warning active until 8 o'clock tonight for parts of the News 5 viewing area. Just means that we've got some very high fire danger in the areas we've shaded in red from the Springs, Pueblo, south to New Mexico, back to the Continental Divide. Just want to stay away from anything flammable, anything that could possibly start a fire. Here's what the wind is doing. Not all that bad, just into the teens. Those are gusts across the Springs and Pueblo. Strongest wind right now down across the southern foothills in Trinidad. That downslope flow has really scoured out that low-level moisture. It is bone dry out there. Relative humidity into the single digits now across a good chunk of southeastern Colorado. All right, let's move on, show you what else is going on tomorrow around here. Going to see a change in the pattern. This is your big weather story. A cold front is going to bank up against the lee side of the mountains. We'll have a moist upslope flow at the surface, and that'll provide more fuel for some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. There they are right there. I think the best chance of rain over the next 7 days will come Friday afternoon, Friday night into early Saturday morning. Here's how we take it hour by hour. Tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. Blue skies, sunshine, just a beautiful morning around here. With that added moisture in the atmosphere, we're going to see things bubble up as far as the clouds go. You'll start to see those thunderstorms across the higher elevations. Don't worry so much about placement tomorrow, but worry about isolated thunderstorms popping across our area. Not expecting any severe weather anywhere across the News 5 viewing area tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. Friday, I think, is prime time for seeing the rain and thunderstorms. They'll be conceived over the higher elevations, then make a push across the I-25 corridor. Some of the thunderstorms could have some beneficial rain for a change here across southeastern Colorado. Then one last chance of getting that rain on Saturday before we really dry out early next week. Temperatures right now into the 70s and 80s. 80 degrees in Walsenburg, Trinidad right now. Current temperature of 81. Overnight low temperatures tonight warmer than what we had last night, dropping back into the 40s up and down the I-25 corridor. It's going to be a beautiful day around here tomorrow. Enjoy that morning sunshine. Those afternoon clouds will build in, and if you get near a thunderstorm, look out for some of that dangerous cloud to ground lightning. I almost went with a 3 on the storm impact scale for Friday because that's really the best day that those thunderstorms could produce some hail across the viewing area. Any storm will have dangerous cloud to ground lightning. Temperatures on the cool side Friday into Saturday. Then things change big time next week. By Monday and Tuesday, back into the 80s with lots of blue sky and sunshine. So let's hope we soak up some of that rain here the next few days. Pueblo, your rainfall opportunities finally going up. Temperatures going down. You'll be very comfortable into the 70s through Saturday. Hot stuff coming through next week. Monday and Tuesday, low to mid 90s with plenty of sunburn, sunshine. Canyon City, get yourself a big scoop of those 70s the next few days. It's really going to heat up. An early taste of summer by next Monday and Tuesday. And in Woodland Park, your landscape needs a good drink of water, and it is on the way. Rain and thunderstorms Thursday afternoon, Friday, and then again on Saturday. Rob?
Mike, thanks. Right now, with summer on the horizon, folks who've been stuck inside for the last couple months looking for a way to get out and enjoy the warmer weather we've seen, and many of them looking to get out into the campgrounds. Well, with the restrictions on campgrounds being lifted this week in many parts of our state, RV businesses in town starting to see a big increase in both sales of new RVs on top of maintenance calls for those who already have one. Windish RV in Fountain tells News 5 they've seen an increase of at least 70% in sales as those restrictions on camping and in-person shows continue to ease, whereas before, safer at home, they were limited to virtual tours, sales, and service. They say people are concerned about COVID, seeing RVing as a better alternative than flying.
I think that RVing is the best way to get out this summer. If anybody wants to do any traveling, a road trip is certainly by far the safest way to travel with your family this year.
Yeah, Payne also says that traveling and camping in an RV also a great way to create family bonding, which very important these days.
Nurse Tanya even told me, I will be there because you can't be.
We're following up on 19-year-old Lindsay Mays' story, who spent 5 days hospitalized in isolation with flu-like symptoms back in April. Next, our Ira Cronin introducing us to one of the nurses who cared for her when her mom couldn't.
Colorado.
In your Health Watch tonight, people with